What if one of the greatest coaching partnerships in rugby history isn't over yet? What if the story that many fans believed had reached its perfect ending is actually preparing for one more unforgettable chapter? 4 months, that question seemed like nothing more than another rumor circulating among passionate Springboks supporters. But then, former Springboks captain John Smit shared a few carefully chosen words that immediately reignited the conversation. He didn't confirm anything. He didn't announce a sensational return. Yet what he said was enough to make rugby fans everywhere stop and wonder, could Jacques Nienaber one day stand alongside Rassie Erasmus in green and gold once again? To understand why this possibility has created so much excitement, you have to look beyond today's headlines. The partnership between Rassie Erasmus and Jacques Nienaber wasn't built overnight. Long before they were lifting trophies and celebrating World Cup glory, they were learning together, solving rugby's toughest tactical problems together, and building a relationship based on complete trust. While many coaching partnerships come and go, they've survived every challenge. Seasons changed. Teams changed. Competitions changed. But one thing never seemed to change: the remarkable understanding these two men shared every time they worked together. That chemistry eventually helped transform the Springboks into one of the most feared teams in world rugby, proving that success wasn't built on individual brilliance alone, but on years of shared ideas, loyalty, and belief. After South Africa's unforgettable Rugby World Cup triumph in 2023, however, their paths separated. Jacques Nienaber accepted a new challenge with Leinster, one of Europe's biggest rugby clubs. It looked like the perfect next step. Leinster already possessed incredible talent, international stars, and a reputation for consistently competing for major honors. Bringing in a World Cup-winning defensive mastermind only increased expectations. Many believed it was the beginning of another successful chapter, not only for the club but for Nienaber himself. But elite sport has a habit of reminding everyone that success is never guaranteed. Despite impressive performances and eventually helping Leinster lift the United Rugby Championship trophy, questions continued to surround the club whenever bigger prizes slipped away. Expectations remained enormous, and with those expectations came relentless pressure. Then came the moment that caught everyone's attention. Jacques Nienaber openly admitted that he hadn't always felt valued during his time in Ireland. It wasn't an angry statement or a dramatic outburst, but it was honest enough to fuel endless discussion about what his future might hold. Almost immediately, rugby fans did what rugby fans do best. They started connecting the dots. Social media exploded with theories. Some jokingly suggested that Rassie Erasmus had somehow planned everything from the beginning, sending his trusted ally overseas before eventually bringing him back with fresh knowledge and experience. It sounded like something straight out of a rugby movie. While there has never been evidence to support those claims, the theory spread quickly because it involved two names that have become almost impossible to separate in modern South African rugby. That was exactly the moment when John Smit entered the conversation. As one of South African rugby's most respected voices, people naturally paid attention to what he had to say. Rather than feeding the speculation, he offered something far more interesting: a realistic perspective. Smiling at the conspiracy theories, he joked that South African supporters might just be the greatest conspiracy theorists in rugby. But then came the comment that truly captured everyone's attention. He admitted that while he had heard nothing official, he certainly wouldn't rule out Jacques Nienaber returning to the Springboks one day. Those weren't words designed to create headlines. They reflected the simple reality that the bond between Nienaber and Erasmus has always been exceptionally strong. According to John Smit, their relationship stretches back many years to the earliest days of their careers, when Nienaber worked as a physiotherapist before evolving into one of the game's most respected defensive coaches. Together, they built ideas, challenged each other, and developed a rugby philosophy that would eventually produce some of the biggest achievements South African rugby has ever celebrated. That history cannot simply be erased because one coach accepted a job overseas. Relationships like that are rare in professional sport, and perhaps that is why the possibility of another reunion feels believable to so many supporters. Still, there is another side to this story. Even if Jacques Nienaber wanted to return someday, it wouldn't be as simple as walking back into the Springboks setup. Rassie Erasmus already leads one of the strongest coaching groups in international rugby. The current staff has earned enormous respect through its preparation, innovation, and ability to keep South Africa competing with the very best teams in the world. As John Smit himself pointed out, the biggest question may not be whether Nienaber would be welcomed back, but whether there would actually be space within such an accomplished coaching structure. For now, nothing has been officially announced. Jacques Nienaber remains with Leinster, and the Springboks continue focusing on the challenges that lie ahead under Rassie Erasmus. The speculation remains exactly that, speculation. Yet one thing is impossible to ignore. Every time these two legendary rugby minds are mentioned together, fans immediately remember the success they achieved side by side. They remember the defensive masterclasses, the tactical innovation, the unforgettable victories, and the World Cup celebrations that united an entire nation. Perhaps that is why this story refuses to disappear. It isn't simply about whether a coach changes jobs. It is about the possibility of seeing one of rugby's most successful partnerships reunited once again. It is about unfinished conversations, shared history, and the belief that some sporting relationships are simply too special to be remembered only in the past tense. Whether that reunion ever happens remains unknown, and only time will reveal the answer. But thanks to John Smit's honest comments, rugby fans everywhere are asking the question once again. Could Jacques Nienaber eventually find his way back to South African rugby? Could he once again stand beside Rassie Erasmus as the Springboks chase even greater success? Right now, nobody can say for certain. But if history has taught rugby fans anything, it's that this remarkable partnership has a habit of producing moments that few people see coming. And until the future becomes clear, one thing is certain: the conversation is far from over, and the next chapter could be every bit as fascinating as the last.